All right, let's dive into one of the most popular financial books ever written, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Now, its core idea is all about how to escape that daily 9 to 5 grind. But how does it actually work? Today, we are going to get into the real mechanics of how the rich build their wealth and how you can start to think totally differently about your own money starting right now. Right, that's the line everyone knows. But what does it actually mean to have your money work for you? I mean, it sounds amazing, but what does that look like day to day in the real world? That's really the big question we're going to dig into. Well, it all starts with understanding the financial trap that most of us are in without even knowing it. You've probably heard it called the rat race. You know the drill. You work harder, you get that promotion, you make a little more money, but somehow you never really feel like you're getting ahead. Exactly. I think we all know that feeling, right? You get a raise, and for maybe a month, you feel like you're on top of the world. But then, life happens. Your car breaks down, you decide you need a bigger place, and your expenses just magically rise to meet that new income. And then boom, you're right back where you started, only now you've got more stuff to worry about. And this visual, I mean, it just nails it. This is the rat race. As that little figure's salary goes up, they start running faster. But look, the wheel just gets bigger and spins faster with higher taxes and more expenses. It's a cycle that's driven by two really powerful emotions, the fear of not having enough money and the desire for all the nice things money can buy. And that's what keeps you trapped on that wheel, no matter how fast you run. So how in the world do you get off the wheel? According to the book, it all boils down to one simple but incredibly powerful rule. And it's a rule that, once you really get it, it's going to change how you look at every single dollar that comes into your life. It all comes down to this one definition. An asset is anything that puts money in your pocket. That's it. It's money flowing to you, whether you're working or not. That's the whole game right there. And you guessed it, the opposite is a liability. It's anything that takes money out of your pocket month after month. Now, the really important thing to see here is that this has nothing to do with the traditional definitions. It's not about the thing itself, it's all about which direction the cash is flowing. Okay, but hang on a second. This is where it always gets confusing for me. I mean, come on, everybody says my house is my biggest asset. It's like the American dream, right? How can that possibly be a liability? And you just hit on the book's most controversial point. If you look at it from a pure cash flow perspective, the house you live in takes money out of your pocket every single month. You've got the mortgage payments, the property taxes, insurance, and you know there's always something that needs fixing. All of that is cash flowing away from you. Now, sure, it might grow in value and be an asset on paper, but in terms of your day-to-day cash flow, it acts like a liability. And this simple fact leads to two completely different financial stories. On the left, you've got the typical pattern. Money comes in from your job, and it flows right back out to pay for your house, your car, your bills. But look at the right. The rich use their income to buy assets first, and then those assets start generating their own income, creating this amazing wealth-building cycle. Okay, and this slide makes it crystal clear. Look at pattern A. Money is a one-way street. Your job income comes in, and it immediately flows right back out. You are the only engine making money. Now look at pattern B. The income flows into that asset column. That's your new engine. And you see that little loop? That engine starts creating its own income, which you can then use to buy more assets. That, right there, is when your money starts working for you. Okay, seeing the diagrams really makes the goal a lot clearer. But let's be real for a minute. For most of us, the idea of having enough extra money to buy assets just feels impossible when we're struggling just to pay the bills.
I totally get that. And the book argues that the solution doesn't start with money. It actually starts with your mindset, and specifically, how you talk to yourself when you feel like something's impossible.
This is the critical mental switch you have to make. Saying I can't afford it is a statement. It's like a brick wall for your brain. It just stops thinking. But when you ask, how can I afford it? Well, now you've given your brain a problem to solve. It's a question that opens up possibilities and forces you to get creative. It literally turns your brain into a problem-solving muscle. And that little mindset shift from I can't to how can I leads you right into the next big principle from the book. It's about really understanding the difference between what you do for work and what you actually own. Hold on, can you clarify that? I mean, my profession is my business, right?
Not according to this philosophy. Look at the visual. Your profession, on the left, that's your job. It's what pays the bills. You're working for someone else's system. Your business, on the right, is your asset column. That's the system that you own. Your job pays your bills, but your business is what builds your wealth.
So what are we talking about here? What's actually in that business column? We're talking about things that create cash flow without you having to be there. Businesses that run themselves, stocks that pay you dividends, rental properties, maybe even royalties from a song you wrote or a book you published. This all makes so much sense when you lay it out. We get the why, we see the trap, we understand assets versus liabilities, we get the mindset shift. But what about the how? What are the very first practical steps someone listening right now can actually take to start getting off that hamster wheel? The book gives 3 really powerful first habits. Number 1, and this is the big one, you have to pay yourself first. That means before you pay your mortgage, your car note, any bills, a piece of your income goes straight into your asset column. No excuses. 2, invest in your financial education. And 3, be very careful about who you hang out with. The conversations you have about money day in and day out will absolutely shape your financial future. And this really just brings it all back to the beginning. The goal isn't just about getting a bigger salary so you can run faster on the wheel.
Right.
It's about changing the entire pattern so that more of the money you make is actually kept and put to work building that asset column for you. So here's the bottom line. Right now, as you're listening to this, your money is already following a pattern. You can see it every month in your bank account. The only real question left is, are you going to be the one to consciously change that pattern, or are you just going to let it keep running on autopilot? The choice is 100% yours.